Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out ProbateMastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit ProbateMastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. All right, everybody, please forgive the late start. My internet decided to reboot itself. Well, stopped working just a little bit ago, so we took a minute to get everything going again. But thank you all for being here. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind, just in case you don't already know. If you're listening to this after the fact on YouTube or your podcast channel, I want to welcome you guys in. If I could have everyone go ahead and make sure that your microphone is muted. Here to answer your probate and estate related questions. So if you guys are here building a niche for probate or estate business into your real estate practice as an investor or an agent, that's what we're here for, to mastermind and talk about those things. We've got a boatload of these past recordings on YouTube at Probate Mastery, or on your favorite podcast platform if you look up Estate Professionals Mastermind. So I'm mainly here to make sure that everybody that's on the call has a chance to ask questions, to share your experiences, share your wins. If you guys are making progress, you can do so. Before I kind of dive into a little bit of sort of preliminary topic, I do want to let everybody know, just in case you don't already know, and looking around the Zoom, the vast majority of you faces are familiar, so you guys just bear with me while I give my 20-second commercial. We are part of the Probate Mastery organization. It's a certification program for agents and investors that want to deep dive into the probate niche. So if you're not certified and you're thinking about going all in, and you want to learn not only the probate process, but how to market to folks in the probate niche, how to prospect, so what to say, how to say it, so that you don't come across like an ambulance chaser chasing a death. If you want to learn my strategies for running appointments, both as an agent and an investor, you want to build a unique selling proposition, create marketing tools and resources for both your cold leads and warm leads, and also where to get leads, and so many more things. We cover all that in Probate Mastery. So if anyone is interested, jump over to ProbateMastery.com. If you want a discovery call, you can also on ProbateMastery.com book a discovery call with myself or our course advisor, Lou, through the website. All right. If you are here and you have a question or you want to share something, hover over the bottom of your Zoom screen and click that little reactions button. And then there's a bar that says raise your hand. Raise your hand. I will call on you guys. If you do chat your questions in, totally fine. Sometimes we get talking. I'm looking at a camera lens. My chat pops up over here or maybe on this monitor, so I don't always immediately see chatted in questions. So I like it. I prefer if you raise your hand, just like Khalid just did. Go for it. You can unmute yourself.
Hey, Bruce. This is
Hey, how's it
Khalid.
going?
Doing great. First of all, thank you. I've been in the CPE since 2022. I always get like the call recordings,
Mm-hmm.
but I was able to hop in live today, thankfully. Here to share a win and maybe some future wins.
Amazing. Yeah.
So so the power of follow-up. So I got in touch with this lady 2022, and I she just like called me back like a couple months ago.
Mm.
And really quick, her background story: she inherited the house. She was named the executor of her sister's estate. Her sister passed, and it was a lot of stuff. I'm actually going to do a YouTube video because this was not an easy one to close. Um, it was, I had to do cash for keys. There was a ex-husband who was a tenant that didn't want to leave, and I work out of New Jersey, so we're a very tenant friendly state.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to deal with that. It became a hoarder house, but in the end, I ended up representing both sides. So I ended up representing the buyer who came in cash because it needed a lot of work. Obviously representing the seller, and now the buyer, I'm gonna list another property that she had just going because she's like a flipper. And then
Yep.
on top of that, the lady that I helped, the executor that I helped, or executrix technically, that I helped, she has another home that she inherited from her mother because she was handling two probates. So three listings and maybe some future business. So just want to share that with everybody.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so you started this relationship back in 2022.
Yes. And didn't close till late 2024.
And so what was happening during that year and a half or 2 years? Was it just frequent communication? Was she waiting on things? Was she just stuck? What was going on?
It was a mixture of both. This one was everything. They threw the kitchen sink at me, as they like to say. Like I had to bring out everything from my Batman utility belt. Like I had to bring out my investor skills. I had to bring out my non-legal, but I'm gonna kind of push you in this direction or urge you in this direction.
Yeah.
So it was constant communication, reaching out, sending her things. I sent her the executor's handbook. I mailed it to her,
Hmm.
just so she can have that. I was just calling her. I was calling her, just checking up on her. She's kind of in the quicksand. She dealt with an attorney that wasn't necessarily a probate administration attorney, and they
Yep.
kind of messed it up, so to speak. I don't want to speak down on attorneys because they definitely know more than me, but they it was a lot of things going on, and so I was reaching out to her, but I didn't want to like overwhelm her or just seem like too persistent,
Yep.
and then it kind of leave a bad taste in her mouth. So after like kind of laying off for a month or two, she actually gave me a call back, and it was like a come list me type of call. So
Did you by any chance arrange any sort of preliminary property visits with her in between the initial conversation and the listing?
um preliminary property visit for the property that she inherited, or the
Hmm.
property that she, no, I did
Nope.
not.
Okay. Okay. Got it. I was curious because sometimes it's hard to keep in touch with people. I try frequently to get face to face as early as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Not all, and I say as early as possible. Um, there are times when pushing for a face to face just hurts your rapport and hurts your ability, but it's something that I make an effort to do as many times as I can is get in front of them, especially if I know that they're going to be drawing the process out. Another question that I would have is, in her mind, in those early conversations, did she have any kind of anticipated time frame for selling? Did she think it was going to take a year and a half or 2 years, or did she think it would be faster?
It was hard for me to gauge. This one was actually, it was a surprise just because she wouldn't give me much. I would just like every call, I would just collect a piece of data. Okay, you're
Mhm.
the sister. Okay, I got that from one call. Then the next call is like, oh well, there's some probate quicksand. There's some like type of apprehension. Okay, then there's a holdup with their attorney. Okay, and then I I definitely don't think she thought it was gonna take that long.
Hmm.
I tried to urge her in the right direction, but she is a self-starter. She was actually somebody. So as we all know in this call, the executor has to keep like account of the estate, like good notes. And she took like great notes. Like when I met her, she logged all of our calls and had my information written down and had all the attorneys' timeline like written down. She was very like on top of it. But again, she didn't. I don't think she thought it would
Yeah.
take this long. Yeah.
Well, I think that that's one of the points that I really want to take from this is there are people frequently that even if they do tell you, "Hey, this is my time frame," sometimes, and you did a great job of staying on top of and trying to nudge her along.
Hmm.
I'll say nudge her along. That follow up really serves two purposes. Number one is it nudges people along. Number two is it just keeps you semi relevant, even if you don't
Yeah.
know how relevant it's keeping you, even if they're not giving you a lot. I can
Yeah.
imagine some of those conversations were frustrating because it was like,
Yeah.
nope, still got it covered. Don't worry. Then you hang
Yeah.
up going, man, this doesn't feel like it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, but it keeps you. relevant, and that's the most important thing, especially with ladies like this and personal representatives like this, is they very frequently get stuck in the process. Um,
Yeah.
I did mention this a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was on this call. I don't remember. I was mentioning it, but I've got three different leads that I spoke with back in, let's say, March, April of last year. And
Mm,
all three, this was a time when I was kind of just dabbling and pushing back into real estate production. So anybody that doesn't know, I kind of I kind of left intentional production back in 2020.
mm,
Intentional production. I've produced every year, but it's been kind of accidental. Okay, it's been
mm,
referrals, it's been past clients, it's been the occasional probate. I get a lot of agents here that'll bring me a probate or estate. So there have been some deals, but I just wasn't pursuing it. So
mm,
last March, April, I decided to step in and do a little bit of pursuit. And I had three conversations with three leads. And then I got busy changing Probate Mastery around, teaching live classes, doing a bunch of stuff. And I didn't eat my own dog food. In other words, I didn't follow my own follow up and marketing process.
mm,
Um, so we pushed harder back into production with a partner of mine 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And I just
mm,
didn't give him these three leads. I didn't think about it. So I checked on these three leads 2 weeks ago, maybe. None of them
mm,
have sold, and all of them thought at the time they all thought that they would sell within 2 to 3 months. None of them
mm.
had, and that's only three. It's three out of three. It's 100% small data set, but many times these folks that are going to sell, they take a while.
Yeah.
What happens if they take a while? If I lost these leads, not permanently, but if I forgot about them, just imagine what the temptation for you is going to be, and also just imagine what your competition is going to do. They're going to lose the lead. I think that the single greatest reason that probate and estate business is such a monster opportunity is
Mm,
because they don't move fast. If they
yeah.
moved fast, how many competitors do you think we'd have that were relevant in the niche? A lot. Uh, Expireds and for sale by owners. Why do so many people go after them? Because they move fast. But you have 200 people that are going after the same lead. Here, it's not going to be the same. They take a while. And in your case, probably a year and a half,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
normal. And I love it. It's the reason that I like probate. It is the reason. Anybody that's looking for lightning fast cash turnaround, it is available.
Yeah.
Um, but it's more likely than not that you're going to be 6 months in before real estate moves. And that's the reason that there's such an amazing opportunity here. So I also want to praise you for the spin business, the spin-off business. I've always said that every listing that you get, if you play it right, on average, there's seven additional pieces of business out of that relationship. Obviously, that's not the case with every single relationship that we have, but if we do it well, there's often a couple of buyers out of it, even if they don't buy the house. There's often a future referral, a referral from the client. There's
Mm-hmm.
often an additional transaction from the client.
Mm-hmm.
There's often another listing somehow tied. So any brand new relationship that you can develop from something like this, and Khalid just proved it. If you do a good job of stepping in and taking care of business and doing a great job, and they see your value, and you ask appropriate questions, there's so much spin-off business from this. So much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm living testament, definitely.
Yep. How long you been pursuing estate and probate business?
Probably like since 2022, I got my first batch of leads from ATL, and was getting it for like a while. I transitioned to another data source, but still work my 2022 leads now. So,
Mhm.
but I got certified 2022, definitely. So,
Yep.
So I've been kind of like I haven't been as consistent as I have now. Like now I'm like every day calls. I just got off a call right before this call. So like now is very, very consistent. I have more of a system, but since
Mhm.
2022.
Amazing. Well, good
Mhm.
job. I appreciate the input. That helps. Hopefully that helped motivate some folks. Even though I did mention about the cash turnaround, I hope it helped motivate some folks. This business can occasionally throw you some complicated deals, but it can also throw you some easy, fast ones sometimes too. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Khalid, thanks so much, man. And if you have anything else to add, go ahead and unmute yourself or and jump back in. I'm gonna go to Al though. Al, let me
Bruce, how you
bring you
doing?
up. How's it going?
Listen, I got a question. I just downloaded like 55, 59 leads from Deal Machine. They were all probates. But after I sent out texts and phone calls, I noticed that they were all what I called old probates, 204, 203, 201. Am I wasting my time with that kind of stuff? Does that mean that they didn't sell or they moved into the property that they inherited, or should I? I'm not sure what to do with that.
So, do you mean 2021 when you say 201? What do you mean
No,
by that?
2000. I mean, these were like 4 and 5 years old. These leads that I got from Deal Machine,
Hmm.
probates.
Hmm. Yeah, at that point, if they still own the house, they're likely in for a little while.
Yeah, that's what I found.
2 years, no big deal. So here's here's what I notice, and this is sort of an anecdotal experience. I don't have nationwide data on this, but I do notice that um, mm, approximately half, actually, no, that seems really high. Let's say 35% of probates have a family member that's living in the decedent's house with them. So sometimes it's a spouse, a significant other, another family member, one of the kids living there. And depending on the area, sometimes there might be hard for them to get into another house, so they just keep it, especially if there's not a mortgage. Surviving spouses do sell. A lot of times it's somewhere in that year to 2 year range. So I want you guys to kind of recognize, and here we go with my computer issues again. My monitor just went out. Hopefully you guys still see and hear me. Okay,
And
so
we
I
can
want
we,
you to
we, we can
recognize
hear
that
you.
you've got two you've got surviving spouses that'll sell in that year range. So I kind of like to market to and prospect the 1 year PRs. So I like to go after people that have lived in the house. It hasn't sold for a year, 2 years. Of course, we just heard from Khalid that sometimes they're not even living there and they wait a year or two. So please recognize that it can be a little while, and there's still a lot of value, especially with the spouses and the significant others that are living in the house, because a lot of times they're just sort of looking for their next stop. They take their year to grieve, and then they start needing help. So, all right.
Bruce, what I did on those, I didn't even approach them as a probate. I just approached them as a cash buyer or a licensed broker that
Hmm.
I've got a client looking in that particular area for a house. So that's how I approached them. I didn't even touch the probate aspect of it.
Yep. Yep. Freeze for 1 second with me, everybody. I've got a complete monitor collapse here. This has happened to me a couple of times here lately. Be back in 20 seconds. I got to unplug and replug back in. All right. Make sure my mic is hooked back up. Okay, good. All right, we're back. Um, So you've kind of approached them as a broker talking about the house, and that's especially good if it's an older probate lead that they're probably probably out of probate. Depending on the state, um, probate could take 9 months. It could be 2 years, depending on the state. Kind of the states that are court driven can take a little while. If
I'm
especially
in California, so Southern
California.
California. Yeah,
Yeah, so yours could take a little while. It might be 15, 16, 18 months before they're out of probate. So if you're going after people that are 2 years in, technically they could still be in, but I'll tell you they're probably not in the thick of it. So it's safe to kind of talk to them about the house versus the probate process. So that's good. Are there deals in there? Yes. Would I really want to be spending a heavy amount of time pursuing a probate case that was 2, 3, 4 years old? I'd hit them once, but I don't think I'd go into a full-blown campaign.
that's what I did. I hit it once, and I'm going to let them go. I haven't purchased the list yet because I'm still not sure where to go. ATL, US leads, uh, probate money. I mean, I really get confused with all of that. But since I
Yep.
haven't bought the leads, I know how to talk to people. I've done this a long time. I'm a little hesitant on approaching them, talking about the estate rather than just talking to them about are they interested in selling the house, you know?
So you're hesitant to, or
Yeah,
is that
because
what you?
I don't, I'm not, I don't know all the probate steps yet. So
Yeah.
if they ask me a question, I might lose it there. I'm not sure. I'd have to tap dance a little bit.
Yeah. So number one, they're not going to ask you a question.
Okay.
All right. They're not. Um, do I want you to know a little bit about the probate and estate settlement process? Yes, a little bit. It's funny. A week or two ago, I had somebody ask for a refund on Probate Mastery, which, by the way, just put that out there. Anybody that's sitting on the fence and you're just not sure about it, I do a money back guarantee. So I had somebody ask for a refund, and I asked why. And I was just kind of in a hurry. And the person said, "Hey, I took the class. Um, I didn't get anything out of the class that I didn't get from," and they named a book. And I'm going to show you guys the book in just a second. And I felt terrible. And I was like, well, I'll just refund the money. So we refunded it. And then afterward, it was a snap decision. Afterward, I went into their course portal and I saw that they'd taken 1 hour out of the entire course. And the 1 hour that they took was the hour and a half that I spend teaching the basics of the probate process. And they said, I didn't get anything in that I didn't get from this book. So I bought the book. It's a good book. Good book. So if anyone wants to read, easy read, thin book, How Probate Works, teaches you that. You could take an hour, 2 hours of the Probate Mastery class and get the basics of what it is. The reason that I don't go into the full-blown legal process of probate and estate settlement is because in 10 years and hundreds of estate and probate deals, you simply don't need to know. We don't need to be lawyers. That's what lawyers are for. We're there to provide our expertise in connecting dots. I have still not been caught off guard with any questions that people ask. They don't know what questions to ask. They're not going to ask you about the estate process and when they can sell. You just need to know some very basic things, very basic things. And I get through those in, like I said, approximately an hour, hour and a half of probate mastery. You have everything that you're ever going to need to know. Is it everything that you could know? No. We spend the rest of the time going over marketing and prospecting and presentations and deal strategies and a bunch of good stuff like that because stuff that you're probably already good at, Al. Because,
I'm pretty good. I've been doing it for a long time. But
yeah,
resources like once I am going to purchase your course, I'm very impressed with it. But in the course, you have the materials that I can send someone, right? In other words, hey, by the way, here's a resource you can take a look at. So this way I can follow up and then they have something that I
yeah,
handed them. Okay.
yep, absolutely.
That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Thank you very much, Pete.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the question. Good stuff. All right, Joe, come on up, man.
Hi, how you doing?
Really good.
Good. I got my mic working, which is exciting. Took me a minute to figure out. I'm not the best tech guy, but really quick, I had an interesting day of calling yesterday. I got my first caller who was, shall we say, not pleasant. I kind of got MF'd a little bit. Guy picked a lot of words that I won't repeat, and I just couldn't get out what I was trying to do for him. And initially, when he went off the deep end, I was like, okay, he told me to like lose his number, or whatever, and I'm like, all right, that's fine. But then it occurred to me, I'm like, this is a pre-probate lead. This guy's probably really emotional. There's probably a lot going on in his personal life, and he's just taking it out on me. And he sees me probably as a vulture coming in, trying to like swoop in on his family's estate or something. And I'm just wondering, to me, it dawned on me that this might actually be a really good lead, but since he's asked me to kind of leave him alone, I'm like, well, do I just drop the lead, or do I mail him something? Like, how do you deal with people like that? Because to me, deep down, I'm fairly confident that this guy is a player and a seller down the road, if not right now.
Mm. Well, well, I'm assuming you've looked and you see that he probably there's probably is a house that the decedent owned and that he doesn't live there. I'm assuming you've looked at that, right?
Well, the house is off market. I don't know if he lives there or not because, but I did look at the tax records and it's been in his name for a long time. So I'm assuming he does.
Mhm.
I just don't know specifically if he still lives in the house or not, but it's not on the market. So it's
Yep.
still, I still think that if it is going to be, it's just not there yet.
Yep. So number one, let him chill out for a few months.
Right.
That's going to be one way. Now, are you going to potentially lose him by chilling out for a couple of months? Possibly. There's a small chance that he could do something. I'll let you guys know if somebody says lose my number, I lose their number. I don't necessarily. I've got a lot of leads, a lot of records, a lot of people that I can talk to. I deal with pleasant people. I try to. Okay. I have one general rule in the clients that I take, and that rule is that I don't do business with um, people whose initials rhyme with AH. Okay. And that's it. That's my one and only rule with who I'll work with, unless they want to be overpriced. All right. So this guy, I also want to recognize that he's probably playing a character. Most likely, he's not really that hateful of a person. He's probably vulnerable and scared and feeling taken advantage of or stalked at the moment. So I totally recognize that. I'm normally just going to drop somebody that was that abrasive. If I didn't drop them, I'd go back and let's say 3 months, he's not going to remember you. I would address it as more of like a circle prospecting call. So instead of I help with the estate settlement process, probate, it's going to be more of a, hey, I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking at this. I've got a client. Okay. We're looking for properties in the area, and I was calling about 123 Main Street. I can't tell what's going on with that. Is that your house or is that part of an estate? So I'm going to lead in that way so that he doesn't feel like he's on a list of people who lost a loved one.
Yeah. It seemed like like he felt, I don't know if it was personally attacked, probably, but he felt like he was being targeted, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's talk about how to deal with that person that feels targeted, that lashes out. So, I'm a big advocate for falling on your sword, and I throw myself on my sword. I am so sorry. I imagine I just really sound like a vulture. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Listen, should I uh, like hang up and not call you again, or would you like me to just take a brief second and just tell you what I really meant to do? Okay, and kind of give a choice. You wanna hang up on me, kick me off the phone, or should I take a brief second and tell you what I actually really called for? And some people, if you fall on your sword hard and you sound contrite, they'll give you the space to go ahead and share what you called for. Some people won't. I don't know if he would have or not. But I want to kind of give them the option to say, no, 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 it's okay. I've gotten a lot of calls. What's up? Um,
Well,
And
he got like he gave me 10 seconds. I'll give you 10 seconds. Like it was like an elevator pitch. And I honestly, like in the moment, I got kind of flustered because I was like, I was trying to like mitigate this guy's anger and then also explain to him without sounding like I'm a salesman, and it didn't go well. But but that was also the first time I dealt with that. So I guess it was a learning experience. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on it because like I said, he seems like he would be a seller down the road. And I think he's just, like you said, I think he's just suffered a loss or he's upset about something and I caught him on a bad day, but I just didn't know how you
send
met.
him send him a letter down the road too. So call in a few months, probably a letter in a couple of months,
Okay.
um, and see what see if there's anything there. To me, it's not a wildly promising lead. I think that there's plenty of other people that are more than happy to take your call.
Right.
Um, they're gonna open up. They're not gonna be that abrasive. When somebody's that abrasive, I usually just kind of let them go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a rare case. So, Joe, you said in the beginning, hey, I got my first guy that was like this. That's the first out of how many?
I mean, I have a VA, but I'm doing about 500 calls a week right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The first out of 500 calls a week. So I think you guys kind of all recognize that there's going to be the occasional person like that. And they come, rare, and they're so rare that I want you to have a basic way of handling it, but just realize that it's okay to lose the occasional person that's like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
awesome, cool. Al, I don't know if you popped your hand back up
Now,
or if it was up
I
before.
have a quick follow-up question.
Yeah.
When I purchased this list, how old is this list? Can I hit them right away as an estate, as a possible estate, or do I mention that at all? Is it too new? I'm not sure how to handle the when I buy the list.
Yeah. Good. So right away. So go immediately. Now there's three different ways of handling a call, and I'll give you guys the least effective, but it's one that I use especially when I have a VA. So I'll kind of say, hey, I'm giving you a call. I work closely with the court system, not for the court system, and I'll say that. I'll clarify that. I don't want anyone to accuse me of misleading them into thinking that I work for the courthouse. So I work closely with the court system, but not for the court system. We provide some resources to families that have opened probate, free resources, list of services, steps to take in probate. I was just calling to see if I might be able to send that to you. So the offer is to send resources. I want you guys, again, I'm going to repeat, that's probably my least effective call, but it's still good. It's non-threatening. It gives you a chance to kind of springboard into better conversations. Um, the next call is going to be more of a real estate call. So you treat it more like a circle prospecting call. Hey, I was calling about a house on 123 Main Street. I can't quite tell exactly what the situation is here. It looks like it may be part of an estate, and your name was tied as possible executor. Can you tell me what's going on with the property? So it's more direct. It's a good for people that want to dive straight into real estate. So those are two calls. The third call is the one that I personally use, and it's the concierge call. So it's, hey, calling kind of out of the blue, Al. Could I take a fast second and tell you the purpose for calling today? Sure. So and they're not always that nice. They don't always go, sure, take as long as you want. Normally it's, yeah, I got a second. You can hear some skepticism in their voice. That's okay. So basically, Al, what I do is I work with families that are moving through the court system here in Wake County.
Mhm.
And I help provide resources and kind of connections and concierge services for them for almost anything that they would need during the probate process. Now, my call hinges on the question that comes next. Is there anything that I could take off your plate, or do you really have everything covered at this point? My call hinges on that because either answer that they give me tells me which path I'm going to take the rest of the call. We got it all handled. Okay, perfect. Let me send you some resources. I want you to keep them. Call me if you ever need anything. And then I'll find a way to spin it to real estate. Or, hey, yeah, we could use help with this, this, and this, which they don't say often, but when they do, your conversation just opens up very easily. So I like leading with a concierge type of service for the estate and the probate process. And then I will almost always find a way to pull real estate into the conversation, but that's not the leading offer. Help?
When I first heard you, what really hooked me into your program is your openings. All I need is an opening. Once I'm in there, I know what to do. Do you know who Bruce Mulrennan is?
Brandon Mulrennan. Yeah.
Brandon, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Because I mean, I listened to him, I use his, and it sounds like you did too. And I said, this guy, he's amazing, you know, because we talk the same way, and that's great. So no, I
So
really,
Brandon takes a lot of influence, I bet. Brandon's never told me this, but I bet Brandon gets a lot of influence out of the Sandler sales program. And hearing him, I think he probably is influenced a bit out of Never Split the Difference, Chris Voss.
mm,
Those are the two overlying influences that I hear when I hear Brandon's approach, and they've had a lot of influence on my technique and strategy as well, along with Tony Robbins' sales mastery course. Those are
I
kind
know.
of the three big influences I've had on my sales approach. And I took all the other real estate sales guys training, and most of them are a little too pushy and rapport damaging, in my opinion. But those three, the Tony Robbins sales mastery, Chris Voss, and the Sandler approach,
Mhm.
all influenced me a lot. Now, there's pieces of all of those three that I don't like and I don't use, but there's a lot more good that I got out of those than bad.
Very good, very good. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.
Hey,
All right.
Bruce, before you move on, could you do that opening again for us
I'll do my best. Which one?
of the concierge? I'm sorry.
Concierge. Okay. I'll do my best. So basically, Matt, I work pretty closely with the courthouse here in Wake County, not for the courthouse, but closely with them, essentially identifying families that are just opening and navigating the probate process. What I do is provide resources, connections, and kind of like a concierge service that would help with almost any piece of probate that you might need or connection you might need. Um, I guess my question for you at this stage of the game, are you looking for any assistance anywhere, or do you really have everything covered at this point? All right,
Perfect. Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, thanks. Hopefully you guys recognized that it's extremely unscripted on my end. I'm hitting the idea behind the opening, the idea behind it. So I'd like for anyone that's doing that, if you want to start with a script, that's fine. Keep it short, but get to the point where you don't know how to deliver it the same way two times in a row either. That's when it sounds very authentic. Frankie.
Hi, good afternoon. Quick question. I have my stepmom, she passed away and she has a mobile home and land as her only asset, and the family wants to sell it, but there's no will. So just
Mhm.
reading, going through the probate process and the notes that I've taken, um there will have to be a petition filed with the county court, correct?
What state are you in?
Ohio, but
Thought
this is
so.
in. I don't think I have reciprocity. They're in it, the trailer home is in Pike County, so I may have to get a referral. But just trying to guide them
Where
along. I'm not sure if a probate needs to be opened.
where is Pike County?
It's like 2 hours outside of Columbus.
Okay, what state?
Oh, Ohio. Sorry,
Oh, it's
Columbus,
Ohio.
Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's
Uh-huh.
Ohio. Any ballpark idea of value?
Looking at the auditor, 26,000.
Okay. Probably you're gonna skip the probate process. So in Ohio, um, the small estate exemption appears from Google appears to be $35,000. So what that means, Frankie, you've been around, you know what that means. But for
Yes.
anyone
Okay.
else that doesn't know what that means is if the total gross value of your assets, cars, bank accounts, real estate, stocks, anything that is that would otherwise have to go through probate. Not all assets go through probate, but if it's something that would otherwise have to go through probate and the total value in Ohio is less than 35,000, what you need to do is you need to file a petition with the county to skip probate, to essentially pass the asset straight through to the heirs without the probate process. So it's always called something different. Let me look and see what Ohio might be. How do you ask
It
for
didn't
a
dawn on me to actually do that part that you just did. So essentially, I can contact that county court and see the process of how to go
Yep.
around or file the petition.
This is probably going to be the same name in the majority of states, but small estate affidavit, and you can go to the probate court or the clerk of the court and ask for a small estate affidavit. Now you're probably going to need to submit some sort of proof that the assets are less than 35,000. But it shouldn't be too complex. So you'll submit that proof, or someone will submit that proof, and then um, with no will, you might have to, yeah, with no will, it's just going to follow laws of intestacy. So the state's going to say who gets what portion of the estate. So look up laws of intestacy in Ohio, or
Okay.
intestacy succession laws.
There's still an outstanding mortgage on the property.
Hmm.
So they want to sell it. So once we get past this part, then it could be the trailer could be listed for sale to satisfy the outstanding mortgage.
Hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, um, I'm putting in chat for everyone, and this is really good. I'm putting it in for everyone, just what I Googled. If you guys are in a state that's not, well, not Ohio, just change the name in my Google search to your state. I think everyone needs to understand what the succession laws and rights are of different heirs to an estate, how the state views that. And that's only if there's no will. If there is a will, the will dictates who gets what. And you're right, Frankie. So it's going to pay the debt off first, and then the rest. Now, the small estate exemption limit is the gross value. So if the mortgage is 20 and the trailer and the land is worth 30, it's not a $10,000 asset. It's still a 30,000 asset. Yep.
Got
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate the question. Really good. Lynette.
Hi, thank you. Um, I I actually hate asking this kind of specific question, but it's specialty liquidation. Um, I have a 3-home estate.
Mhm.
They managed sound systems for big venues, and they used one of the homes as a storage unit. And I can't move the property without moving. I can't get an investor to touch it. Let's just put it that way.
Hmm.
It's like so big. There aren't enough trucks for this. So even if it's not this specifically, but this specifically this time, where do I go? That's number one. And then I have a question about signatures from an affidavit for lending purposes. That's separate.
Okay. You're gonna challenge me today. All right. So, um, investors don't touch it because it's full of stuff, right? And it's not the house. Is it the house that they don't want? If it was empty, would they want it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So get yourself a good clean out crew and act as a concierge. Hey, I'm gonna get you the best price on cleaning the estate out. And
So the issue is they think the equipment's worth something. There may be some things of value,
yeah,
but it's like everything's a Ming vase right now, and we're working through that.
okay.
So
So if they think that the equipment is worth something and you don't know what it's worth, obviously you could get an appraiser in there to appraise it. But if you don't know what it's worth and you say, look, you're not going to get the value of the equipment and the value of the house together, you're going to get the value of the equipment separate from the house. So my suggestion is get the value you can from the house now. Let's clean it out. Let's put the equipment that you want to sell into storage and work on appraising that second.
okay, that's what we're gonna do because they've been sitting on this, and if I've learned anything, it's I don't even push anymore. When they
Mhm.
run out of money, they run out of money, and then it's urgent, and then we move, and I can go fast. So that's
Yep.
that's good news. The bad news, I have to go fast with some I don't know.
Yep.
So and it'll be fine. Thank you. So regarding the small state and the exemption limit, if they do an affidavit, so I'm asking because if you don't need to probate it, you don't get letters, administrative letters, like, isn't there a need for something to give to the bank besides a death certificate, especially if it's intestate, to have them talk to you? Is that the affidavit? Is that all?
Um, well, there does need to be an affidavit to give to the bank. So the affidavit is more for the courthouse. A death certificate is what most state law requires be given to the bank for them to talk to you. Not all banks and not all asset managers understand that. So many times they ask for more.
Oh, they do.
Um,
All
yeah. What have they
and,
asked
and,
for?
and they enjoy it, and it's the argument's moot because they're just not going to do it.
The
You
bank is not going to do it.
No, well, like an asset manager, if you need a payoff on a reverse or something like that, they're just
Yeah.
not going to give it to you unless you have something, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. They have to, though. I know that they're not going to, but they have to. So it's one of those issues where a lot of times the person that you're talking to is just kind of ignorant of the process. Um,
So the person calling doesn't have to have a specific authority to get the payoff on that note.
oh, now the payoff, yes, payoff, yes. The um, bank needs to be notified with just a death certificate, only a death certificate. So
Got it.
payoff needs to be generally after court approval. Okay. Once you have your letters testamentary that says that this is the person that is applying for that's responsible for the estate, then the bank really can't withhold a payoff from them. They're acting on behalf of the estate. Now, if your court process is taking a while, so in some cases it's 4 months before you can get those letters, then with the death certificate, I would submit my petition for probate and say, look, we don't want to fall behind. We've petitioned for probate, not allowed to sell until this is approved and we have our letters testamentary. Um, we're giving you our death certificate and the petition for probate and potentially a copy of a will if there is a will. If there's not a will, none to give. So just the petition. And at least that way they know, but technically they're probably not going to give you anything until you have your court approval through letters
Okay.
of administration or testamentary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of critical when you're trying to transfer title.
It is, yes. Complicates things, especially when courts are moving a little bit slow. How long's the court take in your state, in your area?
So Denver probate in particular uh, is quick if they're represented with an emergency hearing. Um,
Hmm.
but otherwise, it's not terrible. I mean, it's like a couple 3 weeks,
Yeah.
to get
Oh,
it through. The
yeah.
the representation is a big deal. If it's pro se, then sometimes it gets bounced. It just depends on what they do. So
Yeah. I would use this kind of as an excuse to reach out to an attorney. Everything, even if I already know the answer, I'm using excuses to connect with an attorney. I ask them questions that I already know 10 times over the answer to, but I still am like, oh, I'm dealing with this situation. I already know the answer, but I'm gonna call a new attorney and I'm gonna pretend like I don't know. And I'm gonna use that as a chance to bond and form a relationship with this new person. In this particular case, I would just ask them, hey, how do we get around the bank issue when we've got to be making mortgage payments and we need a payoff, but we don't have authority yet?
Mhm.
And see if they've got any tricks up their sleeve I don't know about.
That was a golden nugget. It didn't occur to me to ask a question I knew the answer to, or thought I did anyway. It's
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
great tech thing and a great touch.
You guys would think I'm a bumbling idiot with no
I'm not,
idea how to do anything if you heard some of the questions that I ask attorneys that I don't know. There are times when I'll call an attorney and I'll be like, "Hey, what is this? What is this pro se thing? I've got someone going through that and I don't know what it means." And they're like, "Oh," and I just sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna ask because I only want the relationship with the attorney. I want a new attorney that I can then go, "Hey, I find some people like this occasionally. Would you be open to referrals? Could I come meet you?" And it's usually a wide open door at that point. Yeah. Cool. All right. Lynette, thanks. You're
thank you. I appreciate
yeah,
it. I
yeah,
got it. I'm
awesome.
like talking. Thanks.
Back to Al.
Sir, question. I ran into this a couple of years ago. I want to know if it's true. In California, somebody, at what stage, if possible, can you advance people in probate money? Can you buy the property while it's in probate? I heard one guy said he advanced money to people in probate and he eventually bought the house. I'm not sure if that's,
He advanced money in probate and then what?
he advanced money. I think he either bought the property while it was in probate or he advanced money to the heirs in probate to help them out or whatever. So my question is, as an investor, is there a way that we can get in the front door here before this thing gets approved or while it's in probate, purchasing the property from the heirs?
Not before probate is approved. Um, so timeline, they in California, okay, this is really all over the place, but California, some counties take a little bit longer. So loved one dies. They go to the courthouse. There's a petitioner, so someone who's acting on behalf or is probably going to be responsible for the state goes and fills out a probate application with the court system. And on that application, it says who is the petitioner and who do you want, who's the executor going to be, executor, executrix. Um, and they fill their name out. I'm going to be the executor. And then the clerk files, schedules a court date. Now, in some areas, like Lynette was just saying, 2 or 3 weeks. In other areas, 4 months. In other areas, a week. So you guys just need to know how long it takes to get on the court schedule after applying. You go to the court looks at all the documentation that you've brought with you and you've provided and says, okay, based on this, we are granting this person the authority to oversee the estate. Go ahead and open up your bank accounts, open a tax ID number up, kind of create a government entity, an entity for the estate. And at that point, once that authority, that approval has been issued, you can sell the house. As long as they don't take the money from the assets that are sold and spend it. It has to stay with the estate and the estate's bank account. So you're just transferring it out of real property into liquid property, liquid money.
I see.
Um,
And when does the court, I see on listings, confirmation and no confirmation. When is it that the court deems that they have to confer, to do the confirmation or how does that come up?
I don't know the answer to that. That's going to be a California thing. Anybody in California want to speak to that? If there is anyone in California that wants to speak to that, pop your hand up.
Maybe I'm the only
Confirmation is
one.
probably that it's been confirmed or approved by the county. Don't take my answer to the bank. That's just not something that we see in most states.
Mhm.
Um, so that once they've gotten their approval, you're good to sell. That's I probably wouldn't cash advance money until there's an approval either. I would also want to see a will and be able to trace who gets what so that I know and I can get a value of the state if I was advancing any money. Um, so all of it kind of hinges on when the court has given their authority for the estate to be started and opened.
To advance money and put a lien on it before the approval?
I don't think I would.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Okay.
don't think I would because there's a lot. I would want the court because the court's going to catch, in most cases, the court's going to catch someone that's um, trying to approve, trying to open probate and they're not supposed to, because that happens sometimes. The petitioner goes, "Hey, I'm going to get a lot of money. I'm going to go petition for probate so that I can get my inheritance." And they leave heirs off. They leave all kinds of people off. So I want, I just want to know that the court has put their eyes on it and approved that probate so that I'm not advancing to someone the full amount of their inheritance when there's five other heirs that are supposed to be getting a piece of that estate as well. So you really don't do it without a will, and I wouldn't do it without a court before the court's given them approval to administer the estate.
What document do I see that I know this you when you have court approval?
In general, it's going to be letters testamentary. That's the kind of the official legal term for it. Different states have a different name for it. So you're normally going to see letters testamentary. You might see letters of administration. You could see both depending on the state. So in North Carolina, there's both. There's letters testamentary if they're in probate, meaning that there was a will. And then there's letters of administration if they're in the part of the probate process where there was no will. So letters of administration, letters of authority, letters of testamentary, all three of those are common terms for it.
Okay, I want to go over some of the spiels that you use. When can I get this recording again? Where do I access this recording of today?
YouTube. So look on YouTube. It's also in the Estate Professionals Mastermind Facebook group. Probably by tomorrow. Queenie's here. How soon do we get this into the Facebook group, Estate Professionals Mastermind? And then on YouTube tomorrow. So Probate Mastery on YouTube.
I'd love to coach a Facebook expert. My Facebook was hacked. They've been asking everybody that I know for money, and I'm not sure how to take care of that. That's
Oh
just
man,
another thing. Yeah,
just get a new Facebook.
I'm trying to do that. I'm having a problem with that, but that's beside the point. Thank you very
But
much,
don't pay
Bruce.
anyone money.
Yeah,
That's
oh
for
no.
sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Looks like California is letters of administration. That's what it kind of looks like from Google. Legitimately, if there's people that are seasoned with probate in California, you guys might cringe if I give an answer that Google gave me. There's just a couple of small little changes from state to state, and so I know uh, I know where to get all my answers when it comes to certain states, but every now and then it takes a little bit more research. I really don't want you feeling like not knowing everything is a hindrance to you in your business, though, and that's
I,
not
I, I'll call a couple of attorneys here and I'll put it out if I can.
great.
What is the name of this recording so I can look this up today? I mean, this is the one I really want to see today.
Yep, this is going to be the Probate Mastery on YouTube. It's going to be the weekly coaching call.
Thank you.
Weekly coaching call, and I'm gonna find and share my screen with Probate Mastery on the YouTube channel so that you guys can see where it is if anyone has not looked this up. So Probate Mastery. I need to get my ugly mug off of the main Probate Mastery homepage. So Generally, For You is going to be the most recent videos that are on Probate Mastery. So if you're there for Probate Mastery For You, our most recent videos. Then we've got okay, bunch of different sections all the way down. I would just go to videos and then latest videos are typically going to be, so tomorrow, if you guys go in here, the latest video will be this coaching session that we're on now.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, outstanding. All right. Well, guys, really appreciate everybody being here. Thanks so much. This is another episode of the Estate Professionals Mastermind. If anyone is interested in a discovery call for coaching or thinking about getting probate mastery or our Earn Attorney Referrals Now course, jump over to probatemastery.com and I'll hopefully see everybody here next week. If you're new, we had some doozy questions today. This business is rather easy. You just form relationships and keep in front of folks, as we heard early in the call. Sometimes you stay in front of people a little bit at a time. Other times they go pretty quickly, but this is such a great niche because of the time that people take to get far enough into the process to need to sell a house. And if you're in it for the long haul and you know how to build a pipeline, you know how to stay in front of people, sky's the limit on what you can accomplish for your business in this niche. Again, thank you guys so much for being here and see you next week.